what's going to be said about Alabama at the end of 2025? Because I think the discourse around Kalen DeBoer has gotten a little bit off the rails. Like, I think most reasonable people want to see what he does in year 2. But at the end of last year, when they lose to an Oklahoma, they lose to a Michigan threw for like double-digit yards, there was this feeling of, is Kalen DeBoer actually like the right guy at Alabama? Is Kalen DeBoer, and not saying he's on the hot seat, but there was some people that started that conversation of, what is Kalen DeBoer at Alabama? Is he a fit? I'm here to tell you, at the end of this college football season, no serious person will be split on Kalen DeBoer as Alabama's head coach. Now, notice what I didn't say. I didn't say he's going to be up there with Nick Saban. I didn't say build the guy a statue. I fully expect, though, Alabama to be a college football playoff team here in 2025. Top 3 defense in America, more than likely. They will get what I would categorize as like enough from Ty Simpson. I don't know if Ty Simpson's going to win the Heisman Trophy, but I think you get more consistency, more ability to run your offense. You just get more from him to win football games than you had from Jalen Milroe. And I think the culture is going to be better, like the winning culture. Not saying Alabama had a toxic locker room or anything like that, but Alabama was inconsistent, which to me was reflective of the locker room in itself, maybe not having the winning habits they needed to have to go beat a Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, Michigan, and teams that they probably should have, maybe would have in other eras of the Alabama football program, beaten. Making the college football playoff is awesome. I don't think that Alabama necessarily wins it all in 2025. They could. It wouldn't shock me. College football is wide open this year, so hear me. But understand, them making the playoff and not winning a national championship, you would get 2 reactions. All right, one reaction would be from the crazies. The guy that's got the Alabama logo as his Twitter profile picture, has something about Blitz, Bama Blitz in their bio. The crazies would say, well, they don't win the national championship. That's what we expect. Not good enough. Is Kalen DeBoer the right guy? You're not Nick Saban. Are we sure Kalen DeBoer is the right guy? And that would just be nonsense. That'd be noise. Do not listen to that reaction. Because the second reaction is going to be from reasonable people. Reasonable people will say this. Yes, winning a national championship is the standard here in Tuscaloosa. No way around it. That has to happen. Kalen DeBoer has to do that at Alabama over the course of his career. However, we also, as reasonable people, understand the greatest college football coach of all time is who we just had as our head coach. There's no other Nick Saban that exists in the world. There's no other Nick Saban coaching college football right now somewhere else that would do a better job than a one Kalen DeBoer, given our set of circumstances. Also, reasonable people, which I actually think that the fan base in Tuscaloosa has more of than maybe what gets credit for, winning a national championship is really freaking hard. It's way harder now in the 12-team model. We keep saying this, but before it was win your conference, win 2 games, you're a national champion. Now it's win your conference, hopefully, just get in the 12-team playoff, win 3 or 4 games against any number of matchups, and then maybe you find yourself winning the national championship. That's a very different discussion. That's a very different path. So much of winning the national championship, I think in modern college football, in the 12-team era and potentially beyond that, we'll see how many teams they go to. That's another discussion for another time, is going to come down to what your draw is. All right, now, we could do a whole segment on that. Maybe we will in the future. But the point being, when Kalen DeBoer takes this team to the college football playoff, there should be a massive exhale, a massive realization of, okay, we got the right guy. Maybe it doesn't look like how it used to look with reeling off national titles every year with Nick Saban. Maybe it doesn't look like how it used to look with Nick Saban just donkey barbecuing people every single time on the sideline that they do something wrong. However, we got the right guy who is going to take Bama where it needs to be. A guy who has a track record of winning, a guy who in his second year with a new quarterback got us to the college football playoff and the toughest conference in America. Like, okay, we got a guy. We very much so see where this is going. Because I think that's one of the biggest things in the 12-team era. Like, you just got to see the work being done and understand that it's going to eventually translate. It's kind of like in elementary school math. You would get credit just for showing your work, right? Like, JD, what was the answer? Apples. No, it was 17, but you showed your work. You get some points there, right? Like, you see what I'm saying? So it doesn't necessarily have to be a win the national championship situation. It has to be a, hey, I see where this is going. We see the roster being built. We see the culture being better. We see the recruiting classes being in good shape. That's a big part of what the playoff run, I think, for Alabama, the playoff berth would mean. Alabama right now, top 10 recruiting class in all of college football. I think them making the playoff would equate to them finishing in the top 10, if not top 5 on National Signing Day. At the quarterback position, who's to say what it looks like next year for Alabama? But Keelan Russell is out there throwing darts during fall camp. From what I understand, I have a hard time seeing him sitting on the bench for another year. I think he's probably your guy this time next year. We see where this is going. We see the arrow pointing up. We see what Alabama football is going to be once they totally get their sea legs under Kalen DeBoer. Takes a second to get totally situated. So, again, no serious person will have the discussion of, is Kalen DeBoer right for Alabama? Is he really? No. They make the playoff this year. You understand what he's doing. You see where it's going. You see the recruiting, all that. And Alabama is once again in good shape with one of the best head coaches in the sport in charge of that whole thing in Kalen DeBoer.